Hi everyone. My name is Peggy Bridges and I'm here today to explain to you a little bit about how to use the application called LucidPress. It's a good alternative for graphic design and desktop publishing if you don't have access to things like Microsoft Publisher or any of the Adobe programs like Photoshop or InDesign. It's not as complicated. It doesn't have quite the level of capability, but it is an alternative. What's nice about LucidPress is that it is compatible with Google Drive and Google Classroom, and it's downloadable from the internet because it is an app. First, you need to go to Google and do a search for LucidPress, then download and install the application. Once you have done this, you will only have to log into your account each time. This is basically what your screen will look like once you get to your login. And the easiest way is to sign in with Google each time, especially if you have a Google email account. So once you do that, because I have already set up my account, this is the home screen that you come to as you enter the program. Now, at the left side of the screen, you'll have a bar where you'll see Home, which is what we're seeing here. And you also have a link here to My Documents. When you click on My Documents, it will show you any documents that you have previously worked on and saved. So you can open any of them up and continue working on them, making changes or edits. So going back here to my Home button. So when you want to create a new document, you can choose from any of these categories of templates across the top. There are more if you click on the arrow. Or you can start from scratch with a blank document here, which is really not the best thing to do if you don't know how to use the program well yet. My advice is to start by using a template because things are already set up and you can sort of just click and replace pictures and text boxes. So if you use this right here and you click on the Start Designing, you will get more template options than you get if you click on one of the categories up there. If you click here on Start Designing, you will get templates, categories of templates. There'll be a list over here on the left as well. But there are even other templates that you don't see in this list that you can actually search for if you click up here in your search box. For example, I can search for a book cover, which doesn't appear down here in the list. So I can click on the little search button, and here I have several different types of designs that I can choose from. You want to be careful because these are Facebook cover photos. They are not book covers. So you need to just make sure that you're reading correctly what it is you're looking at for a template. Now down here there are some more book designs, book cover designs. So basically just choose any layout that looks somewhat like a design that appeals to you, and then you can just click on everything and make changes as you like as you go through the template. So let's say we choose this first one right here, biography book cover. Once you click on it, then just click down here on your Create New button. It will take a moment to load. Okay, and then you'll see the template on your screen. If you look to the left, you have sort of a toolbar over here. This is adding a new page, which you also can see there. This is to add text. This is to add shapes. You can add images this way. This is adding new ones that are not already here in the template. So you have also up here a menu bar of options that have drop-down menus. And depending on what you're clicked on in the design, you will also see this task pane over here on the right change as far as providing you options to work with whatever you have selected. So at the beginning, when you first come into the document, it's basically overall document settings where you can change the width and the height, the orientation of the page. You can see it's sideways here in order to get this sort of layout. You can work with headers and footers, margins down here if you like. But for the most part, to keep it simple, if you click on, for example, this text box, it's filled with just sort of Latin gibberish, and we call that lorem ipsum. You can see that by the first couple of words that appear here. It's just filler text. So what you can do is click in there, and if you use your Control A or Command A if you're on a Mac like I am, you can select all of the text and you can just delete it and then type your own text. So once you have your text in here, you can also select what you have. You can change the font style that's up here. You've got a few styles. You can upload new fonts if you like. This is the options you have for that font. Some have more than others, bold, italics, etc. Here is your font size. If you wanted to increase it or decrease it, you can just click on it and choose a number. As you can see, it will change the size, whatever you select. Here you have your typical bold, italics, underline. This is your font color. If you want to change the color of that text, you just click on it. Let's say we want to make it black. We can do that, and it has changed it to black. As you are selected on the text box, if you look over here at the right, this allows you a lot of other control for your text. So these are your alignment buttons. See, here it is left aligned. If you were to click on the center align button, it's going to center align what you have in there. I'm going to put it back to left align because that makes more sense for that particular content. You have styles of paragraphs as well. Again, more buttons of the same. You see that you get a lot of what you have up here is also reflected here, so you can change them wherever you're most comfortable. This little button here with the T and the drop down, that allows you to apply an outline, if you like, to the text. It doesn't make sense to put that here, but for example, if I were to click on maybe this text that is more of a headline style, you can see right here it's showing the green color of the text. So if I click in here and select all of it, I can click here, and this little checkerboard means there is no color for your outline and 0 pixels is the width. So if you click on your width and you increase, it's going to automatically start choosing a color for you, but you can change that, of course. So let's say we have a 2 pixel stroke or outline on it. We can then click on the color and we can change that as well. Let's say we want to try a white outline on it. So the white outline, of course, if you click off of it, it doesn't show up on the white box that's in back of it, but it does show up over here with this background. So now you can see here I clicked off of the font that I was working with and out of that text box, and I clicked here, which appears to be a background, but in reality this is a background image. So that is why over here our task pane has changed to be giving us options to work with the image. So here you have options of how to fit that image in there. This is scale to fill, which is probably the most common use, but you can do scale to fit where it would fit it differently depending on the dimensions of the area it has to fill. You can stretch it, tile it, but the most common are the top two options here. So I'm just going to leave it on scale to fill. You also have options here to crop the image on this button. You can put a border on your image, which it looks like there is none here. This image here, if we look at it, this looks like there is a border on it, but there is actually a rectangle shape behind it. You could actually switch out the image. So let's say I want to put an image for the book cover I'm designing. I can click on that picture and I will do a search here for, let's say, medical personnel as an example. And it's searching for images of that type in my saved images. So if you do this and you don't get any results, that's only because it's searching in the images you already have. So if you want to do a Bing search, you need to click down here. And that's where you would put up here your criteria for your search. So if I put medical personnel here, now I'm getting images from Bing. So I could choose any of these. Let's say I think I like this one. I can click add photos. So this is now going to add it to my saved photos. And I can select it and I can insert it. So it has now put that here. So this is where you would play with the scale to fill, scale to fit. It's not going to do what I really want there. So if I leave on the scale to fill, that option is going to look better for my design. If you don't like it, click, change it, replace it with another one. Let's say I decide that I like this image better. I can insert that one. This one I'm thinking is a better use of the space and looks better as a cover image. So, okay, we go with that one. When you are working with images, especially if you have a background image, see how light this is? You never want to have a background image that's distracting or that makes it difficult to read the text that's on it. So very often a strategy for a background image is to fade the transparency of it. So if I click on that image, transparency is basically opacity. So you can click here and you can see how you can change it, reduce the opacity so it's less. And let's say I don't like this background image. Let's say I want to replace that one as well. So if I click here, let's say I want to use this world map. Now, as it stands here, that picture is too distracting. So I would want to fade it down here. Maybe 30% looks better. Now you also want to pay attention to the order of your objects. This is behind some objects, but it is not behind the shape that was covering the spine area right here. So we need to change the order that these appear and put one in front of or behind another. To change the order of images, if you click over here on the Layout tab and go down here to Arrange, you can expand and contract it. Here, the order, this would bring to front, this would bring one forward one step instead of in front of everything. And this one would send it back one step, or this one would send it all the way to the back. You can also click and drag and move your images. And if you do something you don't like, you always have your undo button over here. So let's say I do not like how this looks. Let's say I want to have a shape behind my spine area. You can do that by creating a shape. So you would have to go over here to your Shapes button. You have some basic ones to choose from. All right, so let's say we're going to make a shape for our spine. We just click it, it automatically makes a default box for us. And then we would have to just drag with the mouse and change it to be the dimensions that we want. Now I'm doing this just with a trackpad, so it's a little less precise. If you have a mouse, sometimes that's very helpful. So we can be making changes to this. Now this is an example where we would want to send this backward one step. We don't want it to be in back of our background image, but we do want it to be in back of the white text. So in order to be able to see that, we're going to need to assign a fill color. So we're going to click on our little paint bucket, and you can sample color so that colors match exactly. So to do that, you need to click here on the little eyedropper. If I click it, then I bring my mouse over to, I want to sample the color that's in this font so that there's an exact match. So I bring it until the little square in the middle of the circle is on the color that I want, and I click to choose that pixel and see it has matched it. So now we're going to go over here and we're going to say that we want to send it backward one step. And let's try another. And as each step we do that, we can see it goes in back of each of the text boxes that created this information on our spine. So we can now see it a little bit better as well, so we can adjust the size of it so it's a little more balanced. As you're finished, you have several different options for sharing the document. You can just click on download and it will give you options for downloading. This is a standard PDF. It's a pretty friendly format to use. You don't really need to be changing any of this stuff. If you don't want PDF, if that's not going to be compatible with whatever use you have for the design afterward, you can always make it as a JPEG. Or if you have a design where you need a transparent background, that would be where you would choose this one, a ping with a transparent background. This is a ping without the transparent background. So these are pretty standard choices, but it's nice that you at least have them. So I'm going to leave it on PDF, and if you click next, it's going to ask you whether you want print checks. You really don't need to do any of that. Then you can just click on your download button and it will download it to your computer. I am not going to do that. I'm going to go back up here to my edit view. And I want to show you another way you can share your design with someone, which is actually the share button. If you click here on share, click this button, the best and easiest choice to use is to collaborate with others. If you click on this, you'll just need to enter an email. You can give them a message if you like, and then you just click the share button. And what will happen is this will get emailed as an attachment to the party you put in the email. So if you have a teacher you need to send it to, this is a way to do it. Or if you want to share it with someone else who is collaborating with you on the design, let's say maybe it's a group project, you can do this as well, and then you can work back and forth with that person. So the last option, if you are a student who has access only to a Chromebook, you're going to have a little bit of a difficult time sometimes with the download part. And if the share for some reason is not working for you, you do have one last option, which is taking a screenshot of the design that you just made. That will create an image, and then you can attach that image to an email. So in order to take a screenshot on a Chromebook, you need to press and hold at the same time the Control and the switch window keys. The switch window key is right between the 6 and 7 numbers at the top row of your Chromebook keyboard. So again, if you hold down Control and then that number right above the 6 and the 7, it's actually not a number, it looks more like a picture. Hold them down, it will make a screenshot, which is basically creating an image of what's on your screen. So I hope this was a little bit of an introduction to the LucidPress program. There are a lot more functions, but I will explain some of those in a more advanced level video. Thanks for watching and good luck with all your design work.